show with Sassy C and Tia. We are back in the house. We were gone for just a couple of weeks, but we are back and more excited than ever. Today, our show is going to be all about the communication game between men and women. What are you saying? That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to look at it from a perspective of the single man, the married man, the single woman, and the married woman. So we're going to go there today. We have a great panel of guests with us this afternoon. We have the Samuel Lee Wright Jr.'s in the house, my friend. Thank you so much for being here, Sam. We also have Robin Russell. We have Dr. Lauren Harden. And we also have Keith Omar Jackson in the house. And, of course, I'm Tia and
Sassy C.
All right. So I'd just like to go around the table first and just have you guys just kind of introduce yourselves and tell us just a little bit about yourself. We'll start with you first, Sam.
All right. I'm Sam Wright, a man of God, husband, father, entrepreneur, and just overall excited to be here. And I just want to thank y'all for having me.
Awesome.
I'm Keith Omar Jackson.
You got to talk up, Keith.
Yeah, talking to Mike.
Talking to Mike and
Omar
talking.
Jackson,
Thank
and
you.
I'm also a co-host of Purpose Driven with Mimi. We're on WQHM. Also, I am an artist and a poet.
Very good.
Dr. Lowe.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Dr. Lauren Harden, and I am a chiropractor. I own a mobile chiropractic business in Indianapolis called Body Mechanics Health and Wellness. And I'm representing for the single females on this group.
Yes, representing for the single girls.
Yes. So I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Right.
Awesome.
And I'm Robin Russell, and I'm a mother, a hard worker, a woman of God, and a one who loves communication. So I'm super excited to talk about this subject today because I believe it's important and necessary. So thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Well, thank you, everybody, for being here. I just cannot get started. Wait to get started. So I'm going to start off this way. Scripture teaches us about the uniqueness of men and women. While created in the image of God with equal worth and value, men and women are different by design and function. We're absolutely and obviously different physically and behaviorally. We're different in the ways that we think, feel, act, and talk. In fact, one of the most striking differences in the sexes is the way we communicate. So that's why we're here this afternoon to talk about the different ways that we communicate as men and women.
And I'm going to give a little backdrop to that as well. So me and Tia have this conversation all the time, like when you're dating, what that communication looks like between men and women. And as women, we often get frustrated because we don't feel like y'all are communicating the way we need y'all to. I feel like that. So that's another kind of backdrop to how this conversation came about.
Right. That's a
Especially,
backdrop.
yeah.
Getting it nice right now.
Exactly. And I also want to just make sure for the listening audience and everyone here as well is that we're not making anybody right or wrong. We're here to come to an understanding and even learn something different, right? So we always want to do that also. And we don't just want to be exclusive to single women, but we also want to talk about relationships, period.
Right. In
a marriage, relationships, period, between men and women.
And we're
Now, I
live
also-
on Facebook.
Okay.
Go ahead. Sorry.
We are live on Facebook. We wanted to do something a little different today. Wanted to give you a little flavor of what happens in the room. But still, please go, tune in, log into www.letsgothereradioshow.com and let us know what you think. Drop a comment. We will definitely be watching the comment board. Let us know what you think. Ask a question. We would love to hear it. So let's dig in. So my first question is for the men in the house. Fellas, what do you wish women would understand about communicating to a man?
I'll jump in first. When to communicate.
That's good.
It's not when I'm watching a basketball game. It's not when I'm reading. It's when we both are open to communicating, when we both are not busy. You know, oftentimes I think men and women can try to communicate when the other is busy or occupied. So I definitely think that's the wrong time to communicate.
Okay.
I believe also it's when you're also ready to receive something as women. Because I feel, and by talking to a lot of black men, because I only can speak from a black man's perspective because that's what I am, we feel like we don't have a voice with women a lot of times. a lot of black women. Because I never had this kind of conversation, and I'll explain. I'll get to it. You know, I'll get to it. You know, I'm fair about it. Okay. And what I mean by that is, I don't ever hear some of my white counterparts or Latino counterparts have the same frustrations or barriers that we have with our women like they have with theirs when it comes to communicating.
Could it just be that they don't talk about it?
No, because you know, like if you got like
what you saying
example,
we don't know how to communicate as black women.
No, I'm not saying that. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's understanding how to receive something from us as well. Because you can tell me what you want all day long, any day of the week. That is never a problem. But sometimes I feel like women don't want to open up to listen to what we have to say. It's like anything I say is a negative. It's a negative and not a positive. Even though I might be telling you something that you could work better on, that should be a positive if you feel like that's something that could better us, not a negative. And a lot of people don't look at it that way. They look at it as, well, here you go, telling me how I need to do. Well, isn't that what you do to me all day, every day, and I accept it? Okay. I think a lot of times that it's not transparent. So, that's just my opinion.
I think that goes back to men being, and don't take this the wrong way, women being more emotional and men being more logical. And that's just my experience personally. You know, I try to do things logically. I'm not typing emotions. Don't get us wrong. We have emotions as men, but that's not where my first foot goes. My first foot always is to go, how can I do this the smart way? You know, based off of leading off my heart or how I feel.
So you'd like them to understand that you do approach it from a practical perspective, not necessarily emotionally, but you do have emotions, but that's your first response is that way. So you want women to truly understand that. And go ahead,
I
Omar.
truly don't like to have a conversation with my woman, or any woman for that matter, when we both are in emotional states. I don't like to have that conversation. Like, okay, let's decompress. I'll go this way, you go that way, and we'll meet back a little later on and have this conversation. Because usually the emotion is tied into I'm going to express, but I'm not going to receive anything from you. I want you to be able to receive what I'm telling you. I want to be able also to receive what you're going to tell me. If I'm hyped, I'm not going to listen to what you're saying because I just got a point to prove.
Robert, you wanted to jump in and say something?
I did. I think so. I agree with certain points of that, but I really think it's important to understand that when two people come together, you're coming together with a pre-built communication inside of you. Your own language is already there. So in order for the relationship to be successful, you have to come up with a common language that you both speak. I can't just be speaking my language to you and you to me. It has to be the both of us speaking a common language where we're safe, where we're understood, where we're heard. So.
And that's an important point that you make, because I was going to ask one of the questions about, do you guys feel that communication styles are based on nurture and nature, or is it based on your experience?
Both.
Okay, tell me more.
Both.
Tell me more.
Example, I come from a household of educators. My father pastored for 30 years. My mom was a school teacher for over 25. So my house is a house of learning. I'm used to receiving my whole lifetime. I'm used to being transparent, hearing, and, accepting things and this and that and the third. I recently started being more of a expresser as I've gotten older, like in college. That's when it happened for me. It didn't even happen in high school. Like, I was a quiet kid until after I graduated high school. So it's different for me, from my understanding. Oh, yeah, I've come out. Baby, you know it. Right. You know it. And you know it. Yeah. No, it happened. But it happened for me, it was forced. And the reason why I was forced is because you get to a point where you bottled so much up to where you ain't got to release. So I didn't take the cap off. The bottle just busted.
Exactly.
And so you get what you get when it come out of my mouth now. I mean, I will say this. I am very conscious of what I'm saying. For the most part, everything I speak on, I'm speaking from a logical and a thought into what I'm saying. It is rare that I'm saying that off of emotion. I'm just not that over emotional person no more. It's like, that's, to me, I look at it as everything's a temporary situation to me, because at some point it's going to end and something else is going to start. So I just take it real light now.
Dr. Lowe, you want to jump in there?
I was going to say, I feel like if we was asking one thing that I feel men forget is that conversation is a tool and not a task.
Absolutely.
And so a lot of men think about it as, oh, I gotta make sure. I mean, I want you to be like, you don't have to be texting me or calling me or talking to me all day, but your communication needs to distinguish you from somebody else, because I got male friends and I got friends that are interested in me, and a lot of times that can mesh. And I mean, your communication, it needs to single yourself out and above other people, and I think that's an always thing.
That goes to expectations, in my opinion. That's like in my expectations bucket, because you know, once I know your expectations, then I know where I need to meet you at.
Yes,
and I think that's what a lot of people need to figure out, is what the expectation. That's the curve of learning anything, to me.
So, Dr. Luck, did you want to say something before?
Go ahead.
You made a good point about, so you're not the type that needs somebody to call or text you all day, but they need to distinguish themselves from everybody else. So that's one thing that when you're dating, to me, I think communication is key, because like you said, you don't have to call me all day. You ain't got to text me all day. But if you're interested, and this kind of leads into that ghosting question, if you're interested, then there should be a level of communication that I know that you're interested. Even if you just send me a text, you know, periodically throughout the day, hey, babe, was thinking about you. How you doing? Hope your day is going well. Or good morning. Let's just start there. A simple good morning. If you are a man and you're interested in a woman, there's no reason why she shouldn't get a good morning text from you.
No doubt. But I think that makes y'all unique, because some women want to hear from you all day. So it goes to, you know, each person's taste.
And also, some don't want to be cookie cutted. Like, I'm one of 17 dudes that sent you the good morning text today. I'm just being honest. No. I might have thrown out a crazy number by saying 17, but you get what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying.
That's an extreme, but 17. No, and I get it. But like at the same time, like, that's the effort. Like, that's the level of dating or status that person is. And so
you need to know.
You still trying to
that's
be
the expectation I'm talking about, though.
That's just what you have. I mean, that's what you have to do. Because what you don't want is for, like, the female or the woman to be, like, guessing as to what, like, I like you a lot, but my like is only going to ride for so long.
I agree. I'm with you on it. And that's what I think is funny, because that's why I say that's where I call it the dating fight starts. And what I mean by a dating fight, it's like the fight game. You know, you have two boxers, they head face up. This is my line, that's your line. Once somebody cross over to it, now we got to go at it. And I kind of feel like that's where we at times. You know, it's kind of like, example, I may have experienced 2 or 3 different women in the last 4 women I've dated that they need that kind of attention. They need me to, you know, hit them up on a daily basis, 3 or 4 times a day. And they also want to spend 2 or 3 hours with me every other day. Okay, that's fine. Then I might get one that I'm doing too much when I do that with them. And I think what women also don't remember is, with us as men, we're the pursuer. So we always putting ourselves ahead first. So if I'm putting myself out there first, I don't know what it is that you're going to accept or not.
So that's where the communication actually comes in. So you ask those questions, right? So what's your expectation? You know, what do you need from me? What are you expecting out of this journey? So that's what we're talking about today, which is something we do not do. So when I said, is it nature or nurture or experience, we communicate from an experience-based way. Because I've dated women, I don't date women, but I've dated men. Hello. And so so whatever my experience is then how I come to the floor to start talking and handling myself. So when we ask the further question, can we learn to communicate more effectively?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, we can.
The question is, are we willing to?
There you go. Are we willing to do that? Or are we just coming from a sense of our experience because this is what I know and this is just kind of how I'm going to roll because it's so hard for me to do something different?
Absolutely.
So let me ask the questions to the ladies, because the men, I said, hey, what is it that you wish women would understand? So women, what is it that you really wish that men would understand about how to communicate to a woman? Let's just say communication right now, and not necessarily what they do, but how do you want them to communicate and understand how to communicate to you as women?
I would say personally, honesty is just extremely important, and especially